Well, we are at Davis Trail, Route 107. It's muddy and my feet are sinking through deep into some kind of swamp underneath here. I'm having to straddle the trail. Well, I was hoping to go camping in a snowstorm, and I found my snowstorm. It's beautiful around here. It feels like you're up in some Arctic tundra in Canada or something. I wonder if I'll see any wildlife while I'm out here. Well, it's supposed to snow about 8 or 9 inches up here today, and it's only snowed 2 or 3. So there's a lot of snow coming this afternoon, and I still got to make it to the shelter that I'm staying at. I see footprints out here in the snow. That either means someone's staying at the shelter and I'm gonna have to camp in my tent, or people are just out here on day hikes. On the drive in, I saw a handful of tents, but no vehicles on the side of the road, kind of tucked back in some camping areas. Well, I'm in an area that's not considered wilderness, but it's considered backcountry. And out here, there's 3 shelters that are on the map. There's no other information about the shelters, and I'm trying to get to one of them to stay at. But if that doesn't work out, I brought a 4-season tent so that I still have some shelter out here. Some of these tree branches are really weighed down with a lot of snow, and they're sagging in the path. There we go. Clear passage. Oh, I see some animal tracks. These right here, I wonder what those were made by. I'm not very good at identifying animal tracks, but that would be a cool thing to learn. Oh boy, there's a stream. There's some type of stream here. This is not ideal. It's like slush, mud and slush. This is terrible. I just gotta get to the other side. I see the tracks. Other people made it, I can do it. There we go. I'm getting pretty hungry. I'm gonna stop and eat something. Can't ever go wrong with beef jerky. Oh, look at these trees. You can almost cut one down and use it as a Christmas tree. Look at that. It's about the size of a Christmas tree. It's a red spruce. One thing about hiking in the snow is you got to be really careful about what's underneath it and where you step, because there can be big pools of water. You'll sink your boot right in and get soaked. It's really nasty. Like right here in the middle, that's water underneath. Sometimes you can't see it though if it's piled up with snow. See, all this ground looks safe. Oh boy. Oh boy. Not what I want. Man, there's something about just being out here in a snow-covered forest by yourself. The solitude is really peaceful and enjoyable. I hope the sun peeks through tomorrow though, because it is a bit gloomy. Oh no. There's a downed tree right in the middle of my path. I guess I'm gonna have to crawl underneath. Gosh, I'm glad I have a hood. My head keeps hitting the rhododendrons and knocking snow right on top of my head. It's impossible to get past all this stuff without knocking down the snow. Gosh, so many rhododendrons. Well, I really enjoy coming on these trips, and I've really been enjoying bringing you guys along through the camera, and yeah, just having the adventure together. It's a lot of fun. Isn't this just beautiful? This is awesome. Feels like a winter wonderland with the snow coming down and all the pine trees and spruce trees. There are these berries here that are frozen onto the plant, and I don't know what they are. If anybody can tell me what they are, let me know. But here we made it to this intersection. We're taking the plantation trail. This way takes you to a waterfall, and this way over here takes you to the shelter that I'm gonna stay at. Well, there's no footprints to the shelter, so I'm hoping that means that I'll be alone. This is the shelter. Here we are. Caname Mountain Shelter. There's a series of 3 shelters out here in this backcountry. And because this is a backcountry area and not a wilderness area or a national park or something, they're often available and not being used. So they're really an awesome way to have a place to stay without having to pitch a tent. And if we did have to pitch a tent, there's some areas right down there that would do just fine. Looks like we have a creek right down here too. Man, that feels so good to sit down and relax. I'd like to explore the woods a little bit. They're so pretty, but I think I'm gonna have some lunch first and just get unpacked here. Well, I've been here about an hour. I sat down and was relaxing, but it's around 2 o'clock and I think I'm gonna cook some lunch now. Well, I got broccoli cheddar soup and I also got some dough and I'm gonna make some bread. So it was recently my birthday and Emma bought me a new stove, the MSR Whisper Light. This is a white gas stove, so it's not affected by the cold temperatures like a butane stove might be. Well, I'm gonna heat up my soup while the bread rises. Well, I'd like to get a big fire going. I don't see a lot of fallen trees or anything, but I think I'm gonna venture off into the woods. I did bring a saw, so after lunch I think I'll give it a try, see what I can find. Something that I've noticed on these camping trips is that even cheap foods like canned broccoli and cheese soup just really hit the spot. They really hit the spot when you're out here, especially when you're cold and you've been hiking a lot. My bread's starting to burn. Try to flip it. There you go, it's starting to cook. Good. I was almost regretting bringing snow pants, but now that I'm sitting down and I'm not moving around a bit, I'm getting pretty chilly, so I'm glad I'm wearing them. I would have been a lot colder without them. That looks good. Steaming hot. And now that lunch is over, gotta do the dishes. My hands are pretty cold, and so something I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try one of these hot hands warmers. We used to use these growing up for snow tubing and playing in the snow, but I haven't used one for years. So I'm gonna put one in my glove, and then I'll switch it between the 2 gloves as my hands warm up. I have some more, but I wanna save them for tonight. Let's see if we can't find something to burn. Find something to burn. Flowing underneath the snow, so you gotta be careful where you step. I almost stepped through and soaked my foot. I just stepped in that hole, my foot went down like 3 feet deep. Well, I haven't gotten a fire started yet, so I'm warming myself up with the stove. I hope I can get a fire started, man. I am chilly and wet. Fortunately, my base layers are not wet though. That's the important thing. My base layers are dry, just my coat and my my snow pants. They're actually steaming right now. Well, I couldn't get the fire started. Everything's just too wet. I have some podcasts downloaded. That's what I usually listen to while I'm out here. Podcasts and audiobooks. Those are the 2 things. Well, it's about 4:30 now, and I am pretty cold, so I think I'm going to lay out my sleeping bag and get that ready because the sun is going to set in 40 minutes and I want to be ready for bed. But I also think I might just get into my sleeping bag before I cook dinner. Probably cook dinner around 6 or 7 o'clock. I don't know, sometime when I'm a bit hungrier. But I'm kind of cold, so I think I might warm up in my sleeping bag. Just trying to brush off anything that might pop my sleeping pad. That would really suck. I wish whoever designed this shelter put like a window or some way to see if anybody's coming on the trail, because the shelter faces out, but the trail to it is from behind it. So you can't see if anybody's coming, and if they do, then they're gonna surprise you. So I don't really like that, but otherwise it's a nice shelter. I'm really glad that I brought my 0 degree bag. I use a 0 degree bag in basically any conditions under 30 degrees. 30 degrees is like my threshold for being really cold in the 15 degree bag. I think I'm gonna listen to some podcasts now, and then I'll get up in a few hours and make dinner. I got so tired, I was cold and tired, and I got in bed and been listening to the Lex Friedman podcast, and I think in a little while I'll get up and I'll make some dinner. I'm gonna make some dinner now, and I brought udon noodles and a sauce to basically make a mock-up of Noodles and Company's Japanese pan noodles. Got some baby bok choy and some meat I'm gonna brown up, some pork, and then some scallions and peppers. And then I have this sauce, and Emma made the sauce. I can't remember exactly what's in it, but I think it's like oyster sauce and dark soy sauce and a few other things. I haven't been able to find any small steel woks like this. Everything is titanium or it's too big and too heavy. If you want to see how to make a wok like this at home with really simple tools, check out our Gear and Projects playlist. We have a whole tutorial on how to make that and also a skillet. Cook down the bok choy and then ready to eat. There you go, look how good that looks. Oh man, that's so good looking. Yeah, look at those noodles. So I got my bear bag hung up in a tree, and I'm gonna boil some water and fill up my Nalgene bottle, and I think I'm gonna get into bed. I was gonna have some dessert, but I'm too tired and I'm also really cold.
In an inefficient way, you haven't really solved the cost problem. I did.
Well, I've been laying here and been listening to some podcasts, and I also noticed that the temperature out here has gone up to 35 degrees. That's good. The warmer the better. But I'm getting pretty tired, so I think I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, it's 4:30 in the morning, and I got up, and it's pretty cold, so I'm boiling my water again. Lasted till about 2 in the morning. It still has some residual heat, but I'm gonna sleep till like 7:30, probably till around sunrise, and I want it to be really toasty in my sleeping bag. This kind of weather might be an excuse to buy a -25 sleeping bag. Well, good morning, guys. I just got up, and it's snowing. I've been feeling some sprinkles on my face, and I think it's the snow blowing at an angle, and it's been getting into the shelter. And my pillow keeps deflating throughout the night, so I'm gonna have to get another pillow. These Trekology pillows just aren't cutting it. And the snow came all into the shelter here, and it got my boots wet. There's a shelter register here. I wrote something in there. There's a lot of different scribblings. Some people have been hunting bear, other people just out here staying overnight. But it's kind of interesting to read. Oh wow, my snow coat. It's frozen. It could stand up. Oh no. It was getting wet last night, and I think it soaked a bit and then it froze. Oh, that's everything. Goodness gracious. The trail's become a stream. I just about made it. I'm almost there. Well guys, thanks for watching. This trip was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work too, hiking in the snow. But if you like this kind of video, check out our camping playlist and make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.